When it comes to appetizers and finger foods, I'm always looking for easy to make, uncomplicated recipes. And today I will share with you one such recipe that's a super hit at all my parties. Welcome to Spicebox, and let's take garlic bread to the next level. Garlic cheese pull-apart bread is outrageously buttery and cheesy, with each piece of pull-apart that are bursting with flavors of fresh herbs and garlic. The ingredients we require are a loaf of bread. Just make sure it's a whole loaf. Today I'm using a sourdough, but you could use a baguette or any other bread that you can find in your neighborhood. I'll need about 2 to 3 tablespoons of minced onions, a cup of cheese, 2 to 3 teaspoons of garlic. If you like a lot of garlic, you can add more. 1 teaspoon of seasoning, a teaspoon of red chili powder, and about 2 to 4 tablespoons of butter. Our garlicky cheesy pull-apart bread will be served with a dip, and the dip will require half a cup of mayonnaise, about a tablespoon of minced onion, salt and pepper to taste, a teaspoon of garlic, about 2 teaspoons of Worcester sauce, and about 2 tablespoons of ketchup. Let's start by making the dip. Take your mayonnaise, add the garlic, ketchup, slowly mix it in. Add the minced onions. Make sure the onions are finely minced. Again, stir everything. Sprinkle some salt, some pepper, and finally the Worcester sauce. Now, Worcester sauce is sweet, mildly sweet, tangy, and a little woodsy. It really makes this dip very delicious. If you want, you could always add some fresh herbs like basil or parsley. Now, if you have some fresh herbs at home like basil or parsley, you can always add it. It just enhances the flavor so much more. Now we'll make the herb butter that is required for the bread. So take nicely softened butter, add your onions, add a lot of garlic because this is what gives the butter the flavor. Next, we're going to add the Italian seasoning and some chili powder for a little bit of heat. Now mix this well. Now you can get creative and make any combination of butter. It doesn't necessarily have to be just Italian seasoning. You could also use just basil or parsley or any other things like even olives. We're now ready to assemble our cheesy pull-apart bread. So what you do is go ahead and take your loaf and start making horizontal and vertical slices, not all the way through to the bottom, just end halfway like this. So you make sure you use a nice sharp knife, and about an inch apart, gently slice the bread. What we are trying to do is make diamond shaped pattern on top. Try to be as even as possible because then it will look prettier when you serve. Give it a half turn and then again. Just be gentle when you're cutting. You don't want to break the bread. So as swiftly and gently you do this, the better for you. It's really important that you have a nice sharp knife. Now after you have cut it, you need to kind of slightly pry this apart and then add the garlic butter that we had made. Now if you don't want to use butter, you can also use just olive oil and garlic. That works just as well and adds a new dimension to the flavor. Olive oil has a beautiful earthy flavor which is really, really nice. When you finish putting the butter, on the opposite side, start adding cheese. Now, the amount of cheese you add is all up to you. The more generous you are, of course, it's going to taste better. You could use any cheese that you have at home. Mozzarella would work really, really nice. Just find places where you can add the cheese. Look for empty spots. So I've transferred the bread onto a foil sheet, and what you need to do is kind of cover it up. Make sure you cover the foil really well, because we don't want the bread to dry out. We want it to stay a little moist. So we're going to cook this in an oven at 200 degrees for about 15 minutes. Then we're going to take the foil, the top foil off, and then we're going to cook it for another 5 to 8 minutes just to brown and melt the cheese. So our bread has been cooking for about 10 minutes, and as you can see, it is nicely toasted. At this point, I'm just going to add a little bit of fresh parsley and put it back in the oven and cook for another 5 minutes. Crunchy on the top, soft, buttery and cheesy on the inside, this garlicky, cheesy, pull-apart bread is perfect to serve for your guests or as a centerpiece for your next dinner party. Your friends will think you're awesome. You're just going to love this.